Hello everyone. How are you all? I hope you all are staying safe by staying home. Did you all enjoy doing the activities last week based on the Earth Day? This week we shall cover a beautiful poem based on nature written by Emily Dickinson. The name of the poem is Nature, the Gentlest Mother Is. Before we start, let's warm up a bit. Take a piece of paper and a pen. Look at the given pictures and write 5 adjectives to describe both the pictures, and also mention which picture do you like more and the reason for it. Let me tell you a few things about our poetess. Emily Dickinson is one of America's greatest and most original poets of all time. She was a nature lover and lived a life of recluse away from people. Recluse means to live a life of a loner away from people. Just like her, if we all live a life of recluse during this difficult time of COVID 19, then we can bring the situation under control. Don't you think so? Okay, back to the poetess. Emily enjoyed nature immensely, and we can see this influence of nature throughout her poetical life. In this poem, nature is portrayed as the mother of all beings and creatures who takes care of everyone. Before we move on to the next slide, I want you all to name a few poems written by her with the theme of nature. You can take help of the internet, of course. Now, let me introduce you to the poem. The poem Nature, the Gentlest Mother is a poem which talks about nature. It brings out the human elements of motherhood. She has made beautiful use of personification. Personification is a figure of speech where a human characteristic is given to something non human. Here, nature, which is non human, is given human qualities throughout the poem. She uses the view of a person in order to create a better understanding of motherly love towards her children. She makes a comparison between humans and nature. It is true that nature is unbiased and loving, whereas we humans, on the other hand, are cruel, selfish, and destructive. Emily Dickinson has portrayed nature as an ideal mother and questions human behavior. At the end of this slide, I want you all to think of and write 2 ways in which we humans are destroying Mother Nature. Let us begin with the poem now. Nature, the Gentlest Mother is, written by Emily Dickinson. Nature, the gentlest mother is, impatient of no child, the feeblest of the waywardest, her admonition mild. The given stanza talks about how calm and patient nature is with her children. Doesn't it remind you of your own mothers? No matter how naughty, stubborn, or impatient you are, your mother is always patient and calm with you. Mother Nature, just like your mother is, patient with her feeblest and the waywardest children too. Feeble means someone who is weak, and wayward means someone who is difficult to control. The best example of wayward creatures can be us humans. Mother Nature does not discriminate among her children. Even her tone of admonition, which means scolding, is mild. Nature is portrayed as a loving mother who is devoted to her children and loves every single being that belongs to her without any discrimination. The usage of mother figure for nature is the personification of the motherly characters to nature itself. Coming to the second stanza, in forest and the hill, by traveler be heard, restraining rampant squirrel or too impetuous bird. The second stanza brings out the motherly instinct in nature which she controls her children around human. Nature is present everywhere, in forest as well as hills. The traveler here stands for humans in general. Humans are also nature's children, but we have a tendency to destroy everything we lay our hands upon. Therefore, we see that Mother Nature is hushing down and restraining the naughty squirrel as well as the impetuous bird. Nature is said to be hushing the creatures in the forest because she does not want humans to harm them. How fair her conversation, a summer afternoon, her household, her assembly, and when the sun goes down. Here, in the third stanza, the focus is back on Mother Nature, where Emily praises the working of nature and all her aspects. Nature, as we all know, survives through every season and change. Here, once again, we see a beautiful use of personification. Nature is personified as mother, and so the words household and assembly hold a strong point. Just like how your mother is an important part of your household, here, Mother Nature is a vital part of her household and she looks after her assembly of children and household of greenery on earth. Let me draw your attention to the last line of the stanza. And when the sun goes down, did you notice this is an incomplete line? It is left incomplete on purpose as it is a continuation to the next stanza. It is used to shift the setting to end of the day as the sun goes down. Moving to the next stanza, her voice among the isles inside the timid prayer of the minutest cricket, the most unworthy flower. Mother Nature prays and acknowledges the voices of the smallest of creatures inciting the prayer, no matter how unworthy the creature might seem. It describes nature's voice flowing between passages. Nature's voice is being described as if praying. She's praying for her children, right from someone as tiny as a cricket to a wilted or an ugly flower to the strongest of all. The poetess stresses on the unworthy flower in order to express the unconditional love of Mother Nature. Coming to the fifth stanza, when all her children sleep, she turns as long away as will suffice to light her lamps, then bending from the sky. The first line here describes the night when all her children are asleep. Do you think your mother's day ends with you going to sleep? No, right? She has to take care of few things like maybe making your room comfortable, preparing for the next day, locking the doors, or some other work. Just like that, for Mother Nature, even when her children are asleep, she has other duties to take care of. She's said to have withdrawn to light her lamps, which would be the moon and the stars, of course. Again, the poetess begins a thought in the last line and waits to finish in the final stanza. The thought begins, then bending from the sky, the mother has travelled far to light her night lamps. Which are her night lamps, children? Yes, the moon and the stars. So, after lighting the lamps, she now must bend back to her children. The last stanza now. With infinite affection and infiniter care, her golden finger on her lips will silence everywhere. The last stanza of the poem brings us to the end of the night where there is a sense of calm before the end begins. End of what? The day, of course. And the cycle continues. With all her affection and boundless care, Nature is seen to hush down her children with a finger on her lip and bring silence everywhere. The golden finger indicates the ideal mother who has a golden touch of calming her children instantly, just like how our mothers have upon us. That was the poem, Nature, the Gentlest Mother is, for you all. I hope you all understood the poem. Now, an easy task for you. The list of the given words appear in different stanzas of the poem. Try and find the meanings of all the words with the help of a dictionary. Easy, right? That's all for now. Hope you enjoy working on the other activities. And don't forget, stay home, stay safe.